Hello, hello. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Mindset Monday. So good to see people coming in. Hello, hello, hello. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. Hi, everybody. Can't believe it's Monday already. Like, I feel like my weeks are just completely flying by so fast. It's crazy. And it's October. So weird. Okay. So today I wanted to talk with you about, see that we're live. Yes, everything's good. Fantastic. Okay. I always have to check all my settings and make sure that you all can hear me and that everything is in order. So today I want to talk about finishing your painting. How do you know when your painting is done? How do you know when you have put that final stroke down? This is a question a lot of artists ask. And I remember asking this exact same question in college to some of my professors there, to past instructors, to other artists, to my peers, or in workshops, or anybody who could tell me, how do I know when my painting is done? And I genuinely did not know. And the answer seemed very elusive. And now I get asked this same question. I've had a lot of time to think about it. And for those of you who are in Growth Studio, you know that some people, some artists, that a lot of times what I'll do is I will ask you to answer the question yourself. Like, tell me, what do you think? How would you know when your painting is done? What are the signs that you look for? What do you think that means to you when your painting is finished? And I totally understand that can be a frustrating answer when I ask people to basically answer the question themselves. And I totally get why that would be frustrating because I'm just thinking back to all the times when I was like, well, how do you know? And I truly, honestly believed that I didn't know the answer and that the answer was somewhere else. The answer was somewhere out there. Somebody had it. I just didn't have it. And the truth is, when we try to answer that, when we really truly try to answer the question ourselves, I think we are all very, very intelligent people. I know I'm biased, but I happen to think artists are some of the most intelligent people in the world, but that's just me. But it's about the answer to the question is that really only the artist, the person who's creating the work, can say when it's done or not. And only the creator can know when they have said what they wanted to say. Only the creator can know when they have put that final brushstroke down. And I know you all know that because when I ask people to answer the question for themselves, that's often what I hear. It's like, yeah, well, I know that I should know this, or I know that it's my painting. But what they're looking for is oftentimes some sort of affirmation that they got the question right. So what I wanted to talk about today is what we really want to know when we're asking that question, what we really want to know about finishing a painting and what it means and what it doesn't mean. So the elusive answer I think that most people give is, I just know. I just know when it's done, right? And when I press them and say like, okay, but what do you like, how do you actually like, is there, and I do this on purpose. I know that they don't have an ant, they can't articulate it always. And so it's just this knowing, it's just I've finished it. And so that vagueness in the answer, I think, is what leads people to want a definition or want like a final stamp of approval or want some way to know for sure, like, really, this is done and I can let this go and I can move on to the next painting or the next work or whatever it is that you're going to do next. I think that really what painting is about is what finishing a painting is about letting go of the idea of perfection. And we often think that that's not it, meaning it's not, I know it's not going to be perfect. I know that like my painting isn't perfect, right? But I think so often when artists are really unsure about whether or not a painting is done, what they're actually unsure about is, will someone else, will they like it? Will someone else find something wrong with it? Is there something here that I don't see? And if there is, will people see it and will they think that I don't know how to paint? Like, that's basically what it comes down to. So I think finishing a painting is about letting go of the idea of perfection. And it's about trusting that the creative force that flows through you has said what needs to be said. Art is about communication and it's about trust. And I think that we get confused sometimes and we think that painting is about us. That painting, when we're deciding whether or not a painting is finished, sometimes we get confused, and we don't literally think this, but the underlying thought, the underlying belief is that I need to prove that I'm talented. I need to show people that I know what I'm doing. I need to prove that that I know how to draw, that I know about color, that I know about composition, that I know about values. And in order, I think, for painting in order for us as artists to be comfortable, to be truly comfortable with finishing a painting, we need to let go of the idea that it is about perfection, about us, about anything other than communicating with our viewer. And here's the big one. And that we can trust our viewers, that we can trust people to get the joke, to get why this is beautiful, to get what it is that we're trying to show them. I think so often when we are unsure of or wanting external validation that a painting is finished, when we want someone else to tell us, it's because we really kind of want to know that I have said this, I have made this statement with my art, I've made this statement with my piece, and you're going to get it. You're going to totally see that I'm talented, and you're totally going to see, and you're not going to find any flaws in it. And that's not why we make art. Like, when I say it like that, I'm sure like a lot of you are like, oh God, no, that's not why I make art, right? So you know this like intellectually, but we still seek it out sometimes. And so this is where being like awareness of your thoughts and awareness of what's happening underneath the surface is truly, I think, is so important to creating your art. Because when you can let go of that, and when you can trust your audience, basically the people who are looking at your art, that I don't have to I'm trying to think of a really good example. Like if I were to, if I'm being, if, as I am right now, I'm verbally explaining something to you. And if I'm verbally explaining to you, like there's a book on my table, and there is, like, in my kitchen, there is this amazing light coming through, and there's a book on the table, and I'm really like lit up right now by what I'm seeing in front of me, right? So you can understand what I'm saying. I don't have to tell you how many pages are in that book on the table. I don't have to tell you the dimensions of the book. I don't have to tell you who wrote the book or what the book is about for you to understand that what it is that I'm responding to. And it's the same way with your painting. Like you can trust. I hope this makes sense. It's a new analogy. You can trust that I'm getting distracted because right away I'm like, see, right there, I'm doing it. Like I'm going to just trust that you know what I'm saying. You can trust your audience to know and respond to what it is that you are presenting to them on the canvas, because what it is about isn't the number of pages in the book. It's not about the number of eyelashes on a person's face. It is about the mood you're creating. It's about the emotion that you're conveying. And it's about whatever it is that made you stop and decide, this is what I want to show you. This is the experience as a human being that I'm having, and I want to share this with you. And it's not like, if you put it into writing terms, it's almost like it's almost like, and I know we know this isn't true, but really kind of think about this. It's almost like a writer who really, really wants somebody to know, like, I'm smart. I have a really good vocabulary. I know a lot of words. So I'm going to use all of them just to prove to you that I have a lot of words in my vocabulary. Like that would be the most awful book in the world to read, right? Because not because of the words that are being used, but because of that, because of what's behind the writing of it, this need to show you that the author is worthy. So if we bring that into our painting and it becomes about like, I need to prove to you that I'm good at what I do, the viewer doesn't care. They really don't. That matters in the sense that it gives you like your understanding of color, your understanding of line, your understanding of drawing, your understanding of all of the foundations of art matters, because it allows you to communicate and to quickly say things in your painting with color, line, value, et cetera, but you don't have to use every single bit of it in every single painting just to show that you're capable of doing it, right? And I know, like, as I'm saying this right now, you're like, of course not. Like, that would be ridiculous. But when we're thinking about, like, is this painting done? Oftentimes, what the real question is, am I good enough? Is this good enough? Are people going to get it? And when you really stop to think about, like, kind of what is behind that, it is so often that we are not trusting our viewers, and we don't think that they are. It's almost like like we don't think that they're capable of understanding how we're saying this, and they are. They really, really are. So I want you to think about that, like when you are considering your painting, when you're considering whether or not it's done. I think a really important, and this is about like this is about like you understanding your own thought process and what it is that is coming through in some of the questions that you're asking yourself, or that need to have somebody else say, this is done, I approve, yes, you've got this, right? It's like knowing what's behind that will allow you so much more freedom in your work, because when you kind of like spell it out like that, and when you get really aware of like what is behind all this, then you know, like, oh yeah, I'm doing that thing. I really want to make sure that that I'm not criticized, or I really want to show, like, I'm worried that my peers are going to think something if I put this, like, so y'all know I'm working on the 100 self-portraits. There's some of them, there's a lot of them, there's probably all of them. Then I know that there is something technically wrong with that. Like, I look at it, I'm like, oh yeah, like that one, like it has a good, there's a good resemblance, like maybe in the eyes or maybe in the mouth or maybe in the chin, but like in every single one of them, I could point at it and be like, yeah, this ear's off, this part's off, this part's off. But the painting's not about me showing the world that I can get a likeness. It's not about displaying, oh, I'm really good at X, Y, or Z. It's about me exploring this this theme, and it's about me exploring the materials, and it's about all these other things. And when I trust, let's just say it's you, to be able to see those come through and know and be like, oh, okay, like as a series, I get what she's doing, versus every single one of them being, if I thought, for example, that every single one of them would be almost presented as evidence in court as to whether or not, like, I know how to do X, Y, and Z, I would be, I probably wouldn't even be able to start a painting. I would be terrified to post it. It would put me in a state where I would not be able to create, and I probably wouldn't show it either. But when I trust myself, the creator, I trust, like, this is what I'm playing with, this is what I'm doing, and I trust the audience, I trust that people will respond to it, and some people will like some of them, and some, like, there are some paintings that you get like 20% of the people are like, oh my God, this is amazing, and then another like 30% are like, and I might even be like, yeah, I mean, like, I loved X, Y, and Z about it, but here's like, but there are some things that I'm not responding to. We can just trust that that is the way it is, and that the audience will respond to what we create. And then when we get to that point, then deciding whether or not a painting is finished becomes, have I said what I wanted to say? Is this is this the statement that I want to make today on this painting? And then there's so much more freedom in that, when it doesn't become the end all be all, when it's not like, this painting is going to be how I'm judged for the rest of my life. That's so much pressure for any painting or for any artist. So think about those things. Think about, like, when you are painting, when you are deciding when a painting is done, what is it that you want to say? If you're not sure if it's done, what are you truly thinking about? What are you worried about? What are you trying to protect yourself from? I think that is another really great question if you have this kind of like uncertainty about it. And sometimes you do need to just like set it aside and come back and look again and be like, nope, that's done. Okay, so that's some thoughts for you to start your week off with. And I will talk to you again next week. Happy painting, everybody. Talk soon.